Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn how to implement Lodash set function. So, what is Lodash set function? Lodash set function is a function which takes an object, path, and a value. So, this function sets this value at the given path in the object. For example, let's say here in the object we are setting c dot b dot a to high. That means inside this object one key will get created c, and inside c, and c will be an object. And we know that it is an object, not an array, because its next key is a string. So by this we can know that c is an object. So inside c we have a b, and b will again an object because its next key is a string. Okay, so b will be an object. Inside b we will have a key a, and its value will be high. Okay, let's take one more example. In this case, in this object we are setting hello to a dot b dot c dot 4. So if I check this object obj, here we can see that we already have a key a. Inside a we already have this key b. Inside b we already have this key c, and after c, the next key after c is 4, which is an number. So we know that c is an array. Okay, so inside in the array c, at fourth index we have to set hello. Okay, means here one empty value will be there, and after that here our value hello will go. Okay, now let's see how we can implement this function. Initially our object will be this complete object. We will pass this object. Okay, and the path will be this. So like we did in the Lodash get function, we will convert this string into an array. Okay, and we will take the first key, and here we will take also the second key. Like initially we will store c in this key and b in next key, and this array which we convert this string into this array. So in this array we will check if its length is 1 or not. If its length is 1, that means be at the base case. Like if we are at a, then the length will be only 1. So in this case we will simply put this value in that object for that key. Okay, and if it's not 1, then first of all we will check if that key exists in our object or not. If that key exists, then we will pass here object dot that key, and in the path we will omit the first element and the value. And if that key does not exist, then we have to create that key and assign an initial value. Like we have to create that key and we have to assign it an array and object, and for that we have to check the next key. So if next key is number, then we will assign it an empty array, and if the next key is a string, then we will assign an empty object to it. Okay, so now we will check the logic part. We will write the logic and then we will start coding. So the logic is, first we will convert the path string to path array. This is same what we did in the Lodash get set function. Okay, after that we will take the first element of this path array and store it in a variable named this key. Okay. Similarly, we will also take the second element of this path array and store it in a key named next key. Okay. And why are we doing it? I will also explain by doing the code. Right now, just we have to store it in a variable name next key. Okay. After that, we will check the length of this path array. Okay. If length is 1, that means we are at base case. This is the base case of recursion. If the length is 1, then we have to simply put the object which is coming, that key to our value. Okay. If the path is not 1, then we still have to go inside in our path. Okay. So here we will have two cases. If that key, this key exists in our object or not. Okay. So we have to check if this key exists in the coming object or not. Okay. If it exists, then we will simply we will call our set function recursively. Okay. Recursively we will call this function with arguments here object dot this key, and in the path we will omit the first element. Okay. And the same value. And if this key does not exist, if it does not exist, then we have to create that key in our object. Okay. And we have to also give it a initial value, like it will be we have to decide it will be an object or an array. So how will we decide it? For deciding it, we will check the next key. Okay. So if the next key is a number, then we will assign object this key equals to array. Okay. If the next key is string, then we know that it will be an object, not an array. Then we will assign here a empty object to this key. Okay. So this is the logic. Actually, we will do it first, then we will call it. Because first of all, we need to check if that key exists or not. If it does not exist, then we have to do these changes. After that, we will call our function recursively. Okay. So this is the logic. Now let's get to the coding part. So first of all, we have to convert our path to path array. So first of all, we will check if it is a array or string. If our path is array, then we will simply assign it this path. Otherwise, we have to convert it into array. So before splitting it by dot, we have to check if an open bracket exists or not. Like if there is an array bracket here, then we have to replace it by dot. Okay. This is similar to what we did in our previous video. Like this will get converted to a dot b dot c dot 4. So here we have to first replace this open bracket with dot, and then replace this close bracket with empty string. After that, we can split our path string by dot. Okay, so after this it will get converted to, like, our path array will become a comma b comma c comma 4. Okay, now let's store the first element in this key. Okay, and also we have to store the second element in next key. Okay, after that we will check if the length of our array is 1 or not. Okay, so if the length of our array is 1, then, like, we are at the end base case, so we will assign object this key to the value. Okay, else we have to check that this key exists in our object or not. So for this we will use object dot has on property function this key. Okay, so has on property function is a function for an object which checks if that key exists in that object or not. So if this key exists, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So in case if this key does not exist in our object, then we have to create that key and assign it initial value. Okay, so here object dot this key, and now we have to decide that we have to assign it to an array, empty array, or an empty object. So how will we do it? So we have to check the next key, that we have to check if the next key is an array, or sorry, next key is a number or a string. So how will we do it? So we can use, first of all we will convert this next key to a number. Okay, and if the next key is not a number, suppose that the next key is C. So in this case, if we do number next key, then it will give NaN, it will become NaN. Okay, so we have to check if it is NaN or not. So is NaN, then we know that this is a string, because like in this case number C equals to NaN, but in case of number 1 it will be 1. So if we check this, like, is this NaN or not? Okay, so here is NaN is NaN, so this is true. Okay, so we know that our next key is string. Okay, so if it is a string, our next key is string, so we have to assign a empty object to it. So in this case, if it is NaN, then we will assign empty object, otherwise this case is NaN number, it is not NaN because it is 1, so here it will be false. So in the else case, it will object assign an empty array. Okay, now we will simply call our function recursively. Here set object this key, because we have already processed the first element, so we will process this we will omit the first element, and also we will, in the object here, we will pass object of this key. Okay, and here we will omit the first element 1. Okay, one more thing, here we have to know that this key is number or string. Okay, so we will create another variable this key as number or str. Okay, so what it does is that like in the case of number, suppose that 4, so 4 comes as in a string. Okay, like 4 comes as this, not as this, so we have to convert this string 4 to 4. Okay, so we will convert this string 4 into 4 and store it in a new variable, name this key as number or string. Okay, so how will we convert it into a number? So we will use number function. Here we will pass this key. Okay, or otherwise, if suppose that this is not a number, like it is a C, so it will give NN. So if it gives NN, then it will take the default value, this key value. Okay, and if it is a number, then it will convert to 4. So our this key will become 4. Or in case of if our this key is C, then it will give NN. This will get the default value C. So this will become C. Okay, so here all the places where we are using this key, here, 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 instead of this key, we have to use this key as number string, because we have to pass it as a number in case of number, and in case of string it will go as a string. Okay, so here, here and here it will go as number. Okay, and why are we doing it? Because we are doing it because like in case of if the string is 4, then we know that this key will put our value in an array, not in an object. So here, if we take like here at position 4, we have to insert some value. Okay, so the key 4 should be as a number, so that it can know that C is an array, not an object. Okay, so that's why we are converting it to a number. The code is pretty much done. Now we have to test it. So in our first example, we have to put hi in this object at c.b.a, means it should be at here. It should create an object name key, name C. Inside we have to create an object with key B, and inside of it we have to create a key A and assign hi to it. Okay, so it should return this. So let's comment it and let's run our code. Okay, so here Lodash set. Okay, so here we can see our object. We already have a.b.c 1 2 3. So a.b.c is 1 2 3, and after that one key is created C. Inside C we have B, inside B we have A, and this value hi is assigned to A. Okay, so this is working fine. Now let's check, keep it as it is and also run it here. So here in this object at fourth position, at fourth index, we have to insert hello. So this is 0 1 2 3. So at 3 it will be an empty value like null. After that hello should be inserted here. Okay, so let's check it. Okay, so here a dot b dot c, we already have 1 2 3, and at fourth index we have to insert hello. So 0 1 2 3, 3 is a null, and after that at fourth index we have hello, and this C part is coming from here. Okay, so it is also present. Okay, so as we can see, our code is working fine. Thank you for watching.